It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspapers Limited Group Executive Director Kayode Komolafe. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Oji.
People will think you are the one making me smile, but it was my director. I had to call him out. Happy Sunday.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, KK. Same to you.
Welcome. You know you always make me smile. Welcome.
Great to be here.
All right. Thank you. So we go into the newspaper review, starting, of course, with This Day on Sunday. And I think we should take it from the up there by the window. It's a celebration of life, really. Beatrice Aboyade, Africa's first female doctor of English literature, dies at 87. Funeral activities begin on March the 30th. That's a major loss to the world of the literati, in Africa, not only in Nigeria. But then it's a celebration of life. You know what is said about when an intellectual dies, it's like a whole library, has been lost. But we celebrate our life, and I think that there will be a lot that she represents in terms of her legacy, and her contributions to knowledge.
Yes, good one, Steve, that you started on that note.
Absolutely.
May her soul rest in peace.
Amen. Amen. And below that story, cash crunch. Banks comply with CBN's directive. Open in Lagos, Abuja, others. That's on page 10. And yet another strip story below the masthead. Obasanjo condemns discrimination against Igbo. That's on page 6. And below that, DSS, we won't tolerate political actors who champion anarchy. The lead story has the headline, APC, PDP in verbal war over alleged plot to truncate Tinubu's inauguration. The riders are illuminating. Opposition parties can't stop May 29 handover, says ruling party. PDP vows not to be intimidated, says APC can't gag Nigerians. Atiku denies withdrawing petition, insists outcome of presidential election illegitimate. And I think we should also mention the cover picture, which has, presenting 1 year scorecard, which has a former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo during an event to mark the governor's first year in office at the International Convention Center in Oko yesterday. And I think that that's where the story of Obasanjo condemning discrimination against Igbo came in. Soludo, as you recall, was the CBN governor. Was he under Obasanjo?
Yes.
And I think he acknowledged it. And I think one of the key viral videos that came out of that program yesterday was when the candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, entered the hall midway, and it became something of a celebration, rousing applause. But of course, there were others who said, why will Obi come late, at a time, especially at the time when the governor was already making a speech. But, it became a show.
Are you offering me a topic for what's trending tomorrow?
But I'm sure that you won't miss that video.
Okay, I'll
because
try.
It went viral. But those are the stories, KK.
Yeah. I think it'd be in order to start with the front page photo of This Day on Sunday.
Yes.
And that is to say congratulations to Governor Soludo.
Governor Peter.
The anniversary of his
Soludo,
inauguration as governor of Anambra State.
Yes.
And to quickly remind him of that powerful inaugural speech that he gave a year ago.
Yes.
It was, it embodied, that speech, still embodies a lot of promise. And to remind him that the promise he made to the Anambra people,
yes,
that he still has 3 years, to fulfill it.
To provide a solution.
Yes,
as
we wish him well.
Yes.
We
must remind him.
We should remind him of that very powerful inaugural speech.
Yes.
It really holds a lot of promise. And the window story is important, and that is the transition of Professor
Beatrice
Aboyade. First, is to pay condolences to the survivors, especially, a friend of the house, Funke Aboyade,
yes,
senior advocate of Nigeria, Funka, you remember, was for many years the editor of the law section of This Day.
This Day, on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays, you know, and made a good job, you know, of it. And for Professor Beatrice Aboyade, you know, the first African professor of English literature, you know, that the tributes, you know, that the family must have been receiving and they will still receive as the funeral activities begin on March 30, you know, quite in order. And you remember that Professor Beatrice Aboyade, you know, was the wife of the eminent development economist, Professor Ojetuji Aboyade, the former vice chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University, then, which is now, University of Ife, which is now Obafemi Awolowo University, you know. Particularly that area of specialization, which is library and archival studies, you know, that she actually made, you know, quite landmark contributions in that regard, you know. You know, I still remember with a lot of pride many years ago when Dr. Yemi Ogumbi, you know, then at the Guardian, gave me a book, you know, on, I think it was on library studies, you know, and you know, to review, you know, on the arts and review page of the Guardian. You know. Very, very proud, you know, that, you know, when I later met her and she acknowledged that that it was
you did justice to the review.
That was just to say that that's a great loss that a distinguished scholar, you know, has passed on, you know, condolences to the family. Now, the stories on the front page, one, let's take the strip, you know, which is just below the window story, you know. I think it's a positive one. Yeah. And that is that at least from this crisis of this Naira redesign the policy that the crisis, at least maybe now it will be in order, I mean, it will be safe to say that the end is in sight. Yeah. You know, now that according to the CBN service, acknowledging that the banks are complying, you know, with the distribution of the old Naira. So let us hope that in the next few days, you know, the old thing,
notes will flood the ATMs and the banks.
At the banks, you know, and the old crisis, you know, will be put behind us and can look to a future, you know, in which we can have stability in the economy, you know, and also the social tension in which it has generated also will abate. Yes. So it's good news. But the other stories, you know, are not, you know, as good, you know, because they are worrisome. That's the political stories, you know, namely the warning, you know, from the State Security Service, SSS, and the war of wars between APC and PDP. And PDP. I think you can take the two stories together, you know, and even Obasanjo's statements in Oka, you know, in Anambra yesterday, you know, all could be taken together. But the important thing to say here is that, you know, everybody should be very careful, all sides.
Absolutely.
All sides should be very careful, because the period between now and May 29 is quite crucial, is quite delicate, you know. And if you look at the state of the polity, you consider that, you know, the situation is potentially combustible, you know, and that is why there is need for caution, you know, all stakeholders, so that we will be able to have, you know, a peaceful conclusion, you know, of the electoral process. Because the point must be raised, you know, that since some of the parties, you know, are in court, you know, contesting the election, that shows that, you know, the eventual resolution will be the judicial process, you know. And since that is what is constitutionally provided and was already, I mean, it's already envisaged by the law, you know, and that the contenders, you know, have done the proper thing, you know, in going to court, you know. I think that part, you know, of peace, you know, and legality, you know, should be followed, so that at the end of the day we'll have, a peaceful, transition period, by the time President Buhari, hands over to whoever is confirmed, to be determined by the court, to be the winner, So, but what is important here is that hitting up the policy,
There's a president-elect, so let's people just go to court.
What I'm trying to say, maybe let me make it clear, is that the election is being disputed.
That's
with
right.
Contenders,
Yes.
And I'm saying that the process,
yes,
the process, provides for the dispute resolution.
That's
correct.
right.
And since those who are aggrieved are already in court,
yes,
I'm saying that procedure should be followed, so that we have a smooth transition, and there's a proper handover.
Absolutely.
On May 29.
Absolutely.
And I also like your point where
sorry.
you talked about, all stakeholders should be involved. I mean, this, should take care, should be very careful.
Yeah.
I mean, heating up this polity at this point is unnecessary.
It is very dangerous.
It's very
dangerous.
And given the fact that the UK have said that they are collating names, I mean, we will know some names, Dr. Abati had said.
No, that's the standard thing that the UK and the US will do if you are found to have
threatening sanctions. Now, when we talk about all stakeholders, including spokespersons, that's what the UK said as well. I mean, right now, the hashtag Tinubu is a drug dealer, or Tinubu the drug dealer, Tinubu for prison is trending at this point. And we've been seeing so many messages from different spokespersons, be it the APC.
Mr. Bayo Onunuga has spoken, against that, to
and
condemn.
Correct. Let me read his
it.
tweet.
Yeah.
He wrote all those. I can't say what he wrote because it's it's not good to air that.
Quite some strong language.
Very strong language. Tweeting the hashtag Tinubu the drug dealer, Tinubu for prison. Your days are numbered. One day you will face the wrath of the law and God for tweeting malicious falsehood about Nigeria's president-elect. I mean, there's a president-elect. All of this is unnecessary. This hashtag,
which comes
all of
back
that,
to what KK said.
Completely
let there be some sense,
Yes.
across board, for all the parties.
All the parties.
And stop heating the politics.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Okay.
All right. Should we move over to this day style?
Yeah.
A cover, it's nice, it's refreshing to see a man on the cover of this day style this Sunday. He is Alwan Ali Hassan, pioneering modern agriculture. I mean, he's a prominent figure in Nigerian banking sector who currently serves as the managing director of the Bank of Agriculture. Under his leadership, the BOA has become one of Africa's most capitalized agricultural development banks, providing affordable financing to small-scale farmers and agri-businesses across the country. All of you might know him as, the current MD of BOA, but most of us remember him as one of the victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack, where he and 64 other passengers, including an 80-year-old woman, were held hostage in the forest for days on end. In today's interview, he spent time talking about the 9 days he spent with the kidnappers. I think it is a must read.
I'm sure that will be a good read, isn't it?
Yes, it must be a good read. Yeah. I'm not sure if we have more time for other topics today, Mr. Komolafe. I guess
we have to say congratulations to him for surviving that
absolutely
horrific.
We don't have time, but
for surviving, as well.
Yeah.
I think you'll have to read the breaking news.
I know, but I was just going to draw KK's attention to the story on the cover of Tribune. Crisis brews over the appointment of the Auditor General of the Federation. I mean, we were talking about the issues of the Accountant General and all the fraud, but then here, trying to choose who should be the Auditor General. Ideally, who should be on the tail of an Accountant General, thieving Accountant General. It should be the Auditor General. So it's important to get the right person.
And it's also a test of the system to show whether it works or it doesn't work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So if the system works, I mean, you shouldn't be having this kind of a crisis.
Absolutely.
It should be a routine event.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Komolafe,
Thank you,
for joining
KK.
us on Newspaper Review
Great to be
today.
here.
We had so
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
stories, but I guess
Short
we'll do it again
but impactful.
next week. Thank you.
Thank you very
you.
much. Yeah.
All right, we return to the piece of breaking news again. Lieutenant General Ladipo Dia, former Chief of General Staff under the late Head of State, General Sani Abacha, is dead. His death was announced in a statement by his son, Prince Oyinsinmilola Dia, on Sunday morning. It read, "On behalf of the entire Dia family, home and abroad, we announce the passing on to glory of our dear husband, father, grandfather, brother, Lieutenant General Donaldson Oladipo Oyeyinka Dia, retired. In his words, our dear daddy passed on to glory in the early hours of 26th March 2023. Please keep us in your prayers as we mourn his demise in this period. Further announcements will be made public in due course." Sympathies to the family, of General Dia. He passed on at 79, and I think that's a major loss, to the military, I believe, and of course to the nation entirely. And
It was number two.
He was number two, madam. Our condolences.